in the city of lights.
Hello, and here we are in Ben Bullen Adventures HQ, and we're going to talk about Trangias and cooking on your DofE expedition this morning. Now we're indoors because it's raining outside, and frankly we're fair weather campers if we can be. So today is all about using a Trangia. This is your Trangia. So each tent group is going to get one of these Trangias. You might have 2 people in your tent, or you might have 3 people in your tent. The Trangia is big enough for 3 people. So what do we need? We need our Trangia. We're also going to need a few other things, which I've got over here. We're going to need some matches to light the Trangia, some gas to fuel the Trangia. We might need a wooden spoon for cooking. We will need a Ben Bullen Adventure spork or similar product for eating with. And then afterwards, you are definitely going to need to wash up, because I am not washing up your Trangia. So you are going to need a sponge with a sort of scrapey bit ideally. And these are really good, either Brillo pads or these metal pads. And after that, somebody's going to need to dry it all up. So those are the things we're going to need. And then we're going to look at how to get the Trangia together. So imagine the situation. You've got to the campsite, you're tired, you're hungry, you're possibly even hangry, which is a nightmare out there on those expeditions. Ideally, you'll set up your tent straight away so you can get rid of your rucksacks, get rid of everything that you don't need for the evening, and then you can set up your kitchen area. Now, I have drawn a beautiful diagram of what your camping area should look like. So if we zoom in on this, we will see 3 tents. And I did try and draw 3 Trangias, but that failed miserably. So the T's represent the Trangias, which are in the middle of the tent area. So a nice, clear cooking area. Now, you want to be comfortable on that campsite. Comfort is a major thing. And sitting on cold, wet grass is not comfortable. So find something to sit on. It might be a log. It might be a survival bag like this, which is basically a huge orange plastic bag that you can buy for a few pounds. It's great in an emergency situation, but it also unfolds and becomes a beautiful picnic blanket. So you make yourself comfortable, and then we get working on the Trangia. Now the first thing is we're going to undo this strap. So to undo it, we have to pinch this clip and pull the strap out from the clip. And then the strap goes through 2 of these little metal things on the side of the Trangia. We're just going to take it out of one so it hangs there. Now, some people take it out completely. I prefer just to leave it there, and then you're not going to lose it. So the amount that get lost over time is a bit of a nightmare. So in here we've got a lid, which also doubles up as a frying pan, but it's not a non-stick frying pan. So do not fry with what's designed as a frying pan. We've got ourselves a handle, which clips onto all the side of things. We've got a bag, and in here is a gas burner. We'll get to that in a minute. We've got a small saucepan, and we've got a large saucepan. And then we have a windshield, and then we have our base unit. It's the base unit we're going to start with first by flipping it over like this, okay? So with our base unit, we then need to put the gas burner into it. So sometimes they come in bags like this, and sometimes they don't, because the bags get lost. To avoid the bag getting lost, we can attach it to our strap like this and clip it back in. And that way, the 2 things that regularly get lost on DofE expeditions, the bag and the strap, are attached to the nice shiny Trangia, which is easy to find in the long grass. So we get our gas burner, and on the gas burner we've got the burner bit and we've got the control valve. Now the control valve is going to go down through this big hole here and then out through the hole on the side. So we feed it through like that, and once it's through, we can then push these 2 clips together to sit it flush on the Trangia base unit. If it doesn't sit flush, it's usually because this heat shield section has got underneath the clip, and you then can't pinch them together. So you need to just make sure that heat shield is above the clips, and then it can sit there. And we want as much hose out of here as possible. So you ideally want to have the hose going in a straight line from the burner out through the little hole on the side. Once we've done that, we can then get our windshield bit. Now, the windshield has got 3 little cutout sections on it, and the base unit has got 3 little divoty bits. I don't really know what to call them. And we're going to line those up, and we're going to give it a little twist. Once you've twisted that in place, you should be able to lift the whole unit from the windshield, and that means that it's all secure together. The next job we've got to do is put the gas on. So we have a control valve here, and on the top of it is a little plus and minus sign. We just want to twist that towards the minus to make sure it's turned off. Hopefully it won't twist because it's all the way around to the minus. Then we want to attach the gas bottle to this bit. Now there is a little pin in there that pushes down on a valve inside of the gas bottle. If you don't tighten this up tight enough, the pin is pushing down on the valve, but the gas can escape. So we've got to do it nice and tight. So we line it up and then we screw it on. Nice and tight. And that's our Trangia set up. So then we can think about cooking. So we have got a large pan, a small pan, and a lid. None of them got a handle. So to use the handle, we simply put the handle on the side like that and pinch it together, and then we can lift it on or off the Trangia. We're going to cook this morning using this Trangia, but I just want to show you another one which I put together earlier. So if you're out on expedition with us, you might have a Trangia like that, or you might have a Trangia looking like this. It's pretty much exactly the same and goes together in pretty much exactly the same way. The only difference is that the tube comes out through a little arch on the side rather than through a hole on the side. But that's pretty much the difference between the two of them. So let's get on with the actual cooking. Now, most people on a bronze DofE expedition will bring pasta and a sauce. That's a lovely, fulfilling meal in itself. The sauce is not in a jar, so it won't smash. And the pasta has got loads of energy, way more than you'll get from a pot noodle or super noodles, so we don't want to see those on expedition. But pasta and a sauce is perfect. Now the problem though is you're going to carry that and then you'll still have loads left over to carry home with you at the end of the expedition. So why not, instead of bringing your pasta like that, bring the amount of pasta that you need in a little bag which will squeeze into your rucksack somewhere, nice and easy. The other thing is, that is bronze DofE, and we're going a notch above that, even when we're on the bronze. So what can we add to that to make it that little bit nicer? Well, for example, first of all, instead of bringing a sauce, you might make a lovely bolognese at home and freeze it the night before, bring it along on expedition frozen, and then it defrosts in your rucksack during the day, and you've got a really delicious meal that's way nicer than pasta and a sauce, and it's there ready and waiting just to be heated up. So that's one option. The other option is that you might have, or added to that option, is you might have some Pringles on the side as a little starter whilst you're cooking away. And then we can add to this. So we could bring some chorizo. I love chorizo. You could bring it in a pack like that, but then you've got to slice it up with a nice sharp knife, and we don't want that happening on the expedition. So instead, bring it already sliced up in a little bag. You might add something like sweet corn, very nutritious, lovely, healthy. You might be a little bit posher and add some olives to your pasta and a sauce, all those sort of things. Grated cheese is a lovely addition to add to it at the finish point, and doing something like heating up some naan breads on the lid whilst it's cooking, another addition to make it just a bit nicer. And what we really love is food envy. Not having food envy, but giving it to other people, so that when they're looking across and they see your naan breads cooking and they see your chorizo and your sweet corn and all that, they are just jealous. So let's get on with cooking. So the first thing we're going to do is pour our pasta into the pan and cover it with water. Now, what we don't want to do is walk up to the tap every time we need water. So why don't we do it that somebody, when you get to camp, goes over to the tap with all of the water bottles and refills them all, so you've got lots of water there at your little camping area. So we've covered the pasta with water. We don't need to wait for the water to get to boiling point to put pasta in it. Pasta can go straight into cold water. And then we light the Trangia. To light the Trangia, one person might do the match and the other person might do the gas bottle, but it is perfectly fine for one person to do it all. So we light the match and we hold it close to the burner, and then we twist our control valve just a little bit at a time, and that will light the Trangia. Now, we've got loads of control in this control valve, so we can have it really blasting out the heat, or we can have it just simmering. Once the Trangia's lit, we can put our pan on there using the handle, and it's really important that we take the handle off because it will conduct heat. There's a little bit of a science lesson. So it'll conduct heat, and we don't want that, so we want to leave the pan off, the handle off. The other thing we can do is put the lid on there. We want to put the lid this way up so it's nice and easy to get on and off. What we don't want to do is put it that way, because then it becomes really tricky to get the handle on there and to lift it off. So we always have the lid that way up. And then we can turn it up, get it really roaring until we start to see the water boil, and then we just leave it there to simmer. Our pasta is nearly ready now and the water is boiling away. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of sweet corn into that water. Lovely. And the other thing we're going to start doing now is heating up our naan breads on the top of the Trangia pan, if we can get into them. By the wonders of video editing, the naan bread is now open, and we're just going to place those on the lid so they can heat up whilst we're cooking away. And that will really add to that food envy, because they've got a delicious smell to them that will waft across the campsite and get everybody jealous of your little cooking area. The pasta is cooked, it's nice and soft, the sweet corn is nice and warm, and for the last few minutes of cooking, I've taken the lid off because I want that to cool down. Now, we're not carrying a sieve on the expedition because that would just take up space in our bags. So we're going to drain the water. I'm going to drain it down the sink, but you can just drain it behind a bush somewhere. And we're going to do that by putting the lid on the pan like this and leaving a little gap there. Now, what we want to do is make sure that as I tip it, my hands are at the side of the pan. If I tip it like this, all the steam comes upwards and burns my hands. So what I want to have are my hands at the side of the pan, and I just want to pour all of that water away, leaving just the pasta and the sweet corn in that pan. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Once that's done, then we can start adding the things. So we can add our pasta sauce. That goes in. Glug, glug, glug. Isn't that gorgeous? Give it a little scrape out so we get every little bit of it. And then we can add our extra flavours, like our chorizo, just thrown in there. Delicious. Yummy. Give that a stir around. And then you might want to add some olives as well. I'm just throwing it all in because I love it all. So throw some of those in there as well. Delicious. And once all that lot's cooked up, we can then put it on our plates. Now, you might carry plates for everybody in the team, or you might just eat out of the pans. So we've got 3 things here. So we've got 1 plate there, 1 plate there, and 1 plate here, but we're a little bit posher than that, so we're going to have actual plates. This is for me and my amazing camera person, Evie. So there it goes. 1 on that plate, 1 on that plate. Isn't that gorgeous? We're going to leave that there ready, and then we're just going to top it off with some cheese. Some cheese on that one, and a couple of naan breads each. And what a delicious meal for your cold evening at the campsite. Boom, the meal was delicious, but we're not finished there. We need to wash up and we need to put everything away because we don't want to lose any bits of the Trangia. So we're going to wash up either at a sink with hot soapy water, and a lot of the campsites will have washing up areas, but some of them don't. In that situation, we're going to use the large pan as our washing up bowl, and all we need to do there is refill it with some water. And we can add a little bit of washing up liquid. Now you can either bring a great big bottle like that, or you can decant some washing up liquid into a small bottle like that, squeeze in some washing up liquid, stick it on the Trangia, get it to a nice warmish temperature, and then you can use that bowl to wash up everything else that's within the group. Now, not everybody needs to bring washing up liquid. These things, washing up liquid, the sponges, the tea towel, they are tent group items. So only one person in your tent group needs to bring them, but you need to make sure that whoever's bringing them knows they're bringing them. So we're going to wash up and then we're going to put the Trangia away. We've washed, we've dried, everything is clean, including these bits of the Trangia. But I just want to show you how we put the Trangia away. So everything is here sprawled out on the side, and we're going to start by doing really the reverse of putting it together. So we're going to twist this slightly and take off the windshield. And then we're going to undo the gas canister. So it's a case of holding onto the control valve and undoing the canister like that. Then we're going to take the burner out from here and we're just going to unclip it and slide the whole lot out through there. Now if you do this too soon after cooking, this is going to be hot, so be careful. And we're going to get the bag, if you've still got a bag, we're going to get the bag and put the burner in the bag. Now this is the really important bit because the Trangias are a similar price to the actual burner, so we need to be really careful with these burners. And where they break are at these joins. So we can't just squash it into the bag. We're going to twist the pipe around the actual burner so it looks something like that. And then we can slide all of that lot into the bag. If we haven't got a bag, we then just put it straight into the small pan. But we've got a bag on this one. So we're going to put the burner in the bag. Do up the bag and into the small pan. Also in the small pan goes the handle. And then we take the strap and we're going to feed it back through this little metal bit here so that the word Trangia is showing on the outside. And then into there goes the windshield. And what we've got to do then is we've got these little pan rests, so they need to be lifted out to make space for the saucepans to go down. So the little pan goes inside the big pan goes inside the windshield, this little pan rests fold down and the lid goes on the top. And then we take the strap over, we pinch this little clip and we feed the strap in from that underside, feeding it in, pulling it tight and making sure that this buckle is on the side. And the reason why we put the buckle on the side is then the Trangias can sit nice and neatly in the stores and they're not wobbling around and falling over from each other. As soon as that's done, that lot goes inside of your tent so it's nice and safe overnight. And then you enjoy the rest of the evening and you keep yourselves warm and you get to bed nice and early because it's an early start tomorrow morning.